Hey guys, in today's video we're going to show you the basics of how to sheet a valley. So let's get into it. Okay, so for cutting this angle here, the top of the sheet is going to be longer than the bottom of the sheet. So that difference between those two measurements is going to be consistent all the way up your valley. So your objective should be to find that difference between the top and the bottom measurement. Now, to find the bottom measurement, we're just going to run our tape along the top of the sheet here, and we're going to butt it into the valley chalk line. You want to keep it straight, or otherwise it messes up the measurement. So right here, we're at 15 3/4 is our short here. So that would be 63 3/4 from here to there. And 15 3/4 is the top of this little triangle right here. Now, for getting this top line here, we can use our string line as a straight edge to carry over this sheet. So I'm just lining up my string line with the top of the sheet, pulling it over to this valley line, and I can make a mark right there. Then I can just measure over to that sheet to get my long. Okay, this is a rare scenario, but this one is actually 96 even, where we made that mark. So we got 96 for our top and 63 3/4 for our bottom. So about 32 inches difference between the two. So for this sheet, we got 96 up top, 63 3/4 down below. Super convenient in this scenario because I can hook my chalk line right on the edge of this sheet instead of having to hold it with my foot. There we go, now we cut it. So you can see we landed right on our chalk line that shows our valley. That's where we pulled our measurement to. And it's sitting right on this valley board. So we'll nail into the valley board here. But this way it's supported all the way on this sheeting. It's okay if it doesn't hit this sheeting. When they throw their valley flashing, their valley tin, and their ice and water down, it will be totally supported. But it is always nice to get this as tight as you can, which means it's sitting right on that. So now we can fill in this little piece here. We know it's 15 3/4 up top, and we're about 23 inches down below. So we can actually use our scrap off of this piece and just chop off this little corner to throw in here. And we don't need an H clip in here because it's less than 16. This is only 12 inches. So we'll just throw that scrap right in. On this sheet, we pulled the short on the bottom, and then we strung the top to pull the top measurement. But here's another way to get the difference between the top and the bottom. Now right here, we got a full sheet butted in tight to our valley line. Then we're just gonna run our tape across the top and butt it into that sheeting line right there. It's kind of hard to see, but here we're at 32 1/4. That's exactly what we were down below. If you do know the difference, you still have to go off the short. So let's say my short was 30 inches down here from this truss over. Then I would add 32 1/4 to that to get my top measurement. Because you always want to land this end of the sheet on a framing member or a truss. So you're going to have to pull that short and then use that measurement to get the long up top. When you're sheeting a valley and you have two roofs coming together, you often have to overlap and then underlap. So notice how we sheeted this 9/12 pitch first. That allowed us to frame on top of it to sheet over. And then right here we sheeted the 7/12 first so we can sheet down over this. So this right here, you're going to have to get a few measurements to figure out where this cut intersects. If you use your square, you can butt over here and chalk a line for where this valley goes. Since we don't have a lot here, a lot of framing, we're going to cut a sheet that goes over this part that sits right here, and then we're going to come back and cut a triangle that goes in right here. Now this doesn't have anything to support it, so we're going to add a valley board right in here, just a 2x4 nailed on top of this sheeting so that we can nail into that with our pieces. So I know where my framing my trusses hit over here. I did that with my square. And over here, since I'm going from the trusses, this is where the trusses go, the top of the framing members. I'm holding it to the underside of this sheeting where it hits this sheeting. So that keeps the plane on the underside of the sheeting all the way. So essentially this line is where the sheeting will rest on this other roof. So if I was cutting this piece right here, I would wait till we got this end sheeted, and then I can pull my short across the bottom, which goes from over there to this line, and then I can pull the other measurement on this side, just lining it up here and going down into this little valley mark. So we got about 3 feet there, and whatever that short is, then we would just put that on our sheet, cut it, throw it in. Then we can nail right to this valley board here. So there you have it. If you guys got any value out of this video, please check out our channel. We're doing a video about every skill it takes to frame a house. Now, every valley you encounter is probably going to be different. A 7 pitch into a 9 pitch is going to be a different angle than a 9 into a 7. So you always got to figure out your long and short and figure out the difference between those two. I personally don't use the angle to cut these sheets. It's hard to carry an angle from a speed square through the entire sheet accurately. And yeah, most valleys, there's a lot of figuring stuff out, figuring out the overlaps. Like right here, we got a lot of things going on. And this is a pretty simple valley, honestly. So just take your time, think through it, and get the difference between your long and short.